What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 11 NFL picks and previews. As always, I have Ethan joining me here to break down this week's games. But before we get into it, subscribe to our channel to be entered into our giveaway at 500 subscribers.
Oh yeah, and it's good to be back once again for a solid week 11. For week 10, I distance you for 3 games,
Mhm.
10-4, and you just sitting at 500 at 7-7. So, as you said earlier before we started recording, what do you think, or your picks, the picks that we chose, the same games they were, you also got them wrong at the same, like all of
Mhm.
them. So,
Yep. The
what
only
do you
one that
think?
bailed me out was Denver there, and
Yeah.
that was kind of given to me there by the Bills. But all those games, besides the San Francisco Jaguars game, all those games were close right down to the end. And it just so happened that, they didn't go my way. But the
Yeah.
game that stood out to me the most this week, none of those games that we picked, it was that Dallas Giants game. And I just think this might be the year that Dallas gets the NFC Championship and possibly can find themselves in the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody hates whoever plays for that star on the helmet. And of course, Dak gets the most hate in the league, but Dak's putting up MVP numbers and he's playing better than a lot of quarterbacks in top five. He's a top five quarterback right now in the league. And it just this year, I'm not talking all time in the NFL. I'm talking this year. Dak right now is a top five quarterback, and I'm giving him his flowers.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you there a little bit. I don't know about the Super Bowl, but obviously it's tough for anybody to make it to the Super Bowl. So yeah, you make a good point there. For me, I'm gonna stay in that 415, 425 slate and say Detroit and Chargers game was the most entertaining game of the week.
Mhm.
Very high scoring, and the Lions did, or it was a push, I believe, because they only won by 3,
Mhm.
but they didn't quite cover, but they played great football, and the Chargers just fireworks after fireworks just can't stop the Lions though. So yeah, other than that, this is a good week. So let's get into next week.
We will talk about last week's picks, and obviously, I'm giving you the wins for pushes just because, like, you're technically not losing money. So
Mhm.
technically, you got two wins there with the Chargers and the Bears. But obviously, I struggled last week in my bets, but you did pretty good. And then we'll go into week 11 this week, and obviously, we're making this after the Ravens game, so I already hit mine. We're 1-0, good start to the week. But then I also have Arizona and Houston over 48. I think that's going to be probably a 28-31 kind of game, and that's going to hit that over. Baker, I think he's going to cover. They're probably going to lose by 10 here, but I think 12 is a little too much because Tampa still has a decent defense, and San Francisco came out last week and dominated. And I think they're due to cool down a little bit. In that same game, I have McCaffrey scoring a touchdown. He's due, hasn't scored in a week, so he's due. And then Denver, right now, they are just on a mission, and if they win this week, they're going to get back to 500, so I have them covering as well.
All right. And for me, I'm going all spreads. I went Dallas minus 10.5. They're the best team when they're favored by more than 10 points in a very long time. So I'm going to take them here, even though it's on the road. Pittsburgh +1 at Cleveland. I'm going to take them as well because obviously Deshaun Watson's out for the season. So DTR will be running for his life this Sunday. And then Buffalo -7 versus the Jets. They gotta win this one. And I think seven's a good number to where I think that's about right for them to win this Sunday. And then Minnesota +2.5, going against your pick. I think Minnesota is very undervalued right now, and Denver is overvalued. So I'm taking Minnesota. And then Philadelphia +2.5 to keep it close against the Chiefs.
And then here are the teams on the bye, and I'll start with the first two with the Falcons and the Colts. And these two teams are going two different ways. Falcons started hot, and now they have just fallen into the pit of abyss where they just can't get out of it, and they're just slowly going downhill. Where the Colts, though, are on the opposite end of that, and this team is finding ways to win games. And yeah, they beat New England 10-6, and it wasn't pretty, but hey, a win is a win, and they're still staying alive in that AFC playoff hunt.
Yeah, and same with the Saints. They're just staying alive. It's very easy, very, very easy division when it comes to opponents, as you said with the Falcons as well. But they're just kind of staying alive here. And then the New England Patriots are basically drowning right now. They don't have much hope for this season, so they're very happy to have a week off where they can actually enjoy their Sunday. So yeah.
And then we'll talk about last night's game. Obviously, Ravens won this one. So obviously, you went to the Bengals, and the big storyline was Andrews obviously done for the year. Now Burrow is done for the year. So this game just eliminated two of the top players, not only just in this game, but in the AFC North as well. So it's just a brutal blow, but the Ravens did find a way to win this one. And then we'll just jump straight to Sunday. We're both going to Texans here at home. I think the Texans right now are just on fire and they are finding ways to win games. And I took the over in this one, and I think Stroud's going to have yet another big day and a big win.
Yeah, and I also like Arizona to like cover maybe as well because 6 points is a lot, and you can't really trust Houston's defense. So if I were to guess, Kyler Murray's gonna have a big game, and this will be one of the more entertaining games when it comes to points scored of the 1 o'clock slate.
And points scored, I think the Lions are going to do that in this one as well. Probably not 41, but I could definitely see at least eclipsing 30 points again.
Mhm.
And the Lions offense is clicking right now on all cylinders. And I expect for a big day, even though Fields is returning for the Bears, the Lions should coast to a victory.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Should not be a close game. If it is, then we can chalk it up to an NFC North rivalry, but it should not be close.
And you're going with Dallas here, 10.5. I think for me, it's kind of one of those, if it was -10, I'd probably take it just in
Yeah.
case of a push. But that half point for me kind of is a little, off-centered. And, Carolina is kind of due for one of those games where they hang around and play because they've been playing some not so good football here. But the Cowboys, they're on fire right now. CD is just on an absolute tear. And who's going to cover him? JC Horn, not looking good here for the Panthers matchup wise against these receivers. And so I'm going with the Cowboys.
And I'm going with the Cowboys as well. And like I said, with the spread already. So don't need to get much into it. Panthers have not been good. And Dallas has been one of the top three teams of the NFC all season long. So I expect them to win it here.
And then our first pick, I guess, that hasn't happened that we're disagreeing against. I'm going with my Packers here at home. They are in every single game. I'll give them credit, but they just can't find ways to win games. And I think this is going to be one of those games they do find a way to win at home. And the Chargers are just a team that they play to the other team's standards. I mean, we saw it last week against the Lions. The Chargers looked like a top 5 team in the NFL hanging with the Lions all week. And then I think this is where the Chargers fall back down into that, oh, well, this team's 3-6, so now they're going to play like a 4-5, 3-6 team should. And I think the Packers finally get a win.
Well, I'm going with the Chargers here. I think this is a must-win game. Playing against the NFC team, you got to get a win here to get to 500 and stay competing in that tough AFC South, especially with Denver competing on Sunday Night Football. So, and they're all in that division when it comes to wild card spots. So the Chargers got to win here, and I think they're going to do it. I think with the way that Herbert's been playing and that offense has been playing, they should coast for a W here this weekend.
And another coast for a W here is Miami. I think they're going to dominate here. Devon Achane is back in this one, so I expect him to get a few touches here, get his feet wet, and really Dolphins offense explode against the Raiders' good defense. And the Raiders obviously are a good story right now, 2-0 after their firing of Josh McDaniels. But this is a whole nother level here with the Dolphins team on the road. So I like the Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree here, but I'll tell you, if the Raiders win here, that's gonna be quite the story for the NFL this year, with firing the head coach, winning 3 straight, really getting themselves back into a playoff spot. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that defense is gonna rush Tua all day and make it tough for the offense. It could be closer than people expect, but I'm going with the Dolphins here at home.
And another game that's going to be not watched probably this week is the Commanders and the Giants. And Commanders should take care of business here at home. And this Commanders team is going to float around 500 like they do almost every year. Probably finish 8-9, miss the playoffs by a game or two. But they do have some hope for the future in Sam Howell. Right now, he is leading the league in passing yards for the season. And I don't think that's getting enough credit for this team. The Commanders, like last week, they were in that game against Seattle, lost by 3 on a game-winning field goal. So this Commanders team is in all those games. They just need to find ways to close out victories, and I think they do it in a big way this week.
Yeah, and if you remember, the Giants, one of their only 2 wins did come against this Commanders team earlier in the year. So if anybody has their number, I guess it's the Giants. I don't think they're gonna win by any means because they're having a rough season. They're having a really rough season, and the Commanders are just playing good football, just solid football every week. They don't have the most talent, but they're just compete out there, and think if they do that this week, they should have no problem with the Giants.
And then a big game for the AFC North. You get the Steelers and the Browns, and now this division is, the door is still open in this division even after the Ravens win yesterday. But whoever wins this one, the door is going to be halfway open for a possible AFC North championship. And if they lose, well, it's going to be some tough sledding from here on out. And I think the Steelers go on the road and get the win. I know that, Watson's done for the year and DTR is now the quarterback, but this team can still beat you running the ball. They're one of the best teams in the NFL running the ball, even without Nick Chubb. And I think the Steelers defense are going to game plan for it. This defense has been great all year. It's just going to come down to if Matt Canada can call the right plays at the right time. And I think he does in this one. Him being on the sideline the last two games has helped this offense. So I expect the Steelers here to win a close one.
Yeah, obviously I agree here. I know it's going to be a really low scoring game. Obviously, if you look at the over under, it's 33, which is probably the lowest we've seen in all this whole football season. So, two very lackluster offenses going at it with two great defenses. And if you like football and you like the defensive games, it's going to be a really interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a fan of this type of football, so I'm excited for it. I think this is going to be a great game defensively, and there's going to be a lot of splash plays on defense. And yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm going with the Steelers.
And then at one, still good 1 o'clock slate this week. Titans, Jaguars. Jaguars looking to get right back into it, after the embarrassing loss against the Niners on prime time last week. And the Titans come into town looking to, still have some hope in the AFC South. And this is a team that is leading the AFC South. So if the Titans want to get back into this thing, they got to win this game. I don't think it's going to be done, but I do think that they hang around here late in this one. Jacksonville's going to win this one ultimately, but Titans, don't be surprised if they cover this one and lose by a field goal.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I think the Titans are going to keep it close, and I think they have a shot to win it here. I know they're on the road, and the Jags just came off an embarrassing loss, so I can't pick against the Jags. They got to play good football this week, and they're the more talented team as well. So I gotta stay with the Jags, but don't be surprised if Derrick Henry has one of those games and the Jags just don't possess the football for very long.
Then moving to 4 o'clock, Bucks, Niners. And Niners, well, they reintroduced themselves out of the bye last week, beating those Jaguars in a huge blowout. Everybody ate in that one. Even Christian McCaffrey didn't score, and he still ate. And I think he's going to have a big day against this Bucks defense. And they figured it out last week against the Titans. The Bucks did. But now you're going against the Niners, who look like they figured it out after adding Chase Young. It's not going to be pretty here, but I do think the Bucks cover. But the Niners, I think, are going to dominate in this one.
Yeah, this is actually a tough matchup for all the Bucks receivers as well. Just that Niners defense is going to be howling at Baker this week, and I don't think they're going to be able to score very many points. So I'm taking San Francisco, and I think it could be a blowout.
And at 425, you have a week one rematch that went a different way. And when these two teams faced each other, I think they were both hoping it would go differently at this point in the season. And, the Jets entered this one beating the Bills last time they played in week one, having Aaron Rodgers being the starting quarterback. And now they have Zach Wilson on the road against Buffalo, who's 500. And, it seems like the Bills have to win this game. I mean, the Jets have to win this one too. But if Buffalo loses this one to the Jets, then I think the panic button has been hit. And they're just going to go into a frenzy out there in Buffalo. And I'm not talking about just pre-gaming.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they can't lose this game. There's no way they can lose this game and their fans not go absolutely ballistic. I think they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder this week, and obviously I think they're going to get the win. I had a -7, so Josh Allen and the boys, they got to come to work this week against a tough Jets defense. I mean, their offense is not tough at all, but their defense is tough, so it'll be a physical game, but I'm taking the Bills.
Then a disagreement here for us this week. I think the Rams are going to win this one with Stafford back. Stafford has been the key piece, obviously. When you lose your quarterback, it's a big blow. And when this team has Stafford, the Rams team is a completely different team. Coming out of the bye week, hopefully his thumb is right and they can come out and win this one. And the Seahawks, they're a team that's kind of playing to everybody's level. And I can see the Rams squeaking one out here at the end with maybe a last second field goal or some late game heroics on the defensive side of the ball. But don't be too surprised here if this one's going to overtime too.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close game. Reason I'm taking Seattle is they need this win more than the Rams do. They got to show that they can beat a quality opponent, I feel like. So, I mean, they've been blown out already twice by two good teams, and you can't have, you can't lose another divisional game here against a not as good team. Stafford's coming back, so that will obviously make it a much closer game, and I think it'll be a dog fight, like you said. But I got to take Seattle here. Losing the first game against the Rams, they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder this week.
Moving to night football, Vikings, Broncos, and both these teams coming in off some great wins. Minnesota is just on cloud nine right now with Josh Dobbs. And, this team we thought was dead in the water at one point just because Kirk Cousins done for the year. Jefferson was hurt at the time, and they had no running game. So we thought, we were writing this team off as is that Monday. But here they are, 6-4, still on their win streak. Justin Jefferson expected back this week, and if he gets activated, and the ground game, Madison's been playing well. If he plays, he got a concussion last week. If he plays, I think they're going to have a good game here. But I'm still going with Denver at home. They're 4-5. I think they get back to 500. And Russell Wilson, he hasn't been lighting it up, but he has been very efficient. And Javonte Williams, I expect for him to get a lot of touches and really dominate this one.
Yeah, this one's tough for me to bet. I think like either team could win here. It's basically a coin flip for me. I think I trust the Vikings offense a little more with Dobbs. Denver at home, Sunday Night Football. It's a lot of pressure here on the Vikings, and I think the Denver's defense has been playing really well. So I think they're gonna squeak by and get it done on Sunday Night Football.
And then on Monday Night Football, biggest game of the year, Eagles, Chiefs, and both these teams come out of the bye looking rejuvenated and almost fully healthy. And this is one where Taylor Swift's going to be in attendance. So it's going to be an easy money line Chiefs all day.
Yeah.
Because they're undefeated when she's there. And I hate mentioning her just because, has nothing to do with football. But you know what they say, stats don't lie. And it just so happens that she's going to be there. So give me the Chiefs money line here. I think they win big too in a possible rematch of the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, that's some great insight, some really great insight of the pop culture and everything. I think the Chiefs are going to win as well, but I just think they're playing at home, Monday Night Football. Like you said, Taylor's going to be there. Coming off of a bye, I trust Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes just a little bit more than the boys over in Philadelphia. So I got to take the Chiefs. This is going to be a dogfight again, and it might be like 45-42 or something crazy like the Super Bowl was.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chiefs won it last time, and I think they're going to win it again here. It's going to be a shootout, but yeah, I'm really excited for this one. It's probably the best game of the week.
And that's going to be it for our picks and preview this week. Make sure you guys check back next week to see how we did and to preview Week 12's games. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.